Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me here on the Q&A call. I see a couple of you are on the call, and this is great. I'm coming to you here from my office where I just finished seeing a couple of clients. We do body work together. So if you're wondering why the muscle man chart behind me, that's exactly why. And so I want to welcome you back. And if you're watching this live now or even the replay, that means that this is interesting information to you and that in some way you are looking to shift or change something in your life. And this is the purpose for this MBA program, Mind Body Awareness for Change. So we all strive for some kind of change in our lives. We all want to see things different, and usually change and improvement go together, right? Because if we want to change something, it sort of implies that something doesn't feel so good to us, and so we want to create some kind of change around it or improve a situation or a body condition or a relationship or a thought process, or change a belief that is old and no longer serving us. So this is the purpose of this program. And again, thanks for coming. There aren't so many of you live, but I know that a lot of you check out the replay, which is also helpful. I'm still going to go ahead and address a couple of questions and concerns that have come to me via email. So this is great too. And hopefully next time we'll have you live so you can ask your question or share your experience with this process with all of us. So today I wanted to address, so let's check the chat box first here for a second very quickly. I'll keep it open, but I will address mostly your questions at the end. A question came in saying, how can we know what to expect and what to try to change, especially as it relates to other people's expectations or desires? Okay, that's a great question because yes, we do try to consider other people in our changes a lot of times. So I'll definitely address that. And let's start with the whole idea of, I'll come back to the questions definitely in a few minutes. Just wanted to come back to the whole idea of acceptance. So as I've broken it down in this program and how I'm presenting it to you is this step-by-step process when it comes to change. So usually we recognize that something doesn't feel good, something is not working for us. And that's when the desire to change gets really prominent. Now, that is, like we said, the first step is awareness. Awareness that something in your life needs to be different. Something needs to change, improve. And here we can talk about, habit, belief, behavior, a relationship, a bodily condition, maybe something is happening, a situation. And so the first step is to become aware that something needs to shift and change. And today I wanted to really bring your attention to the next thing that needs to happen in this process, and that is acceptance, which we'll talk about. I'll give you some tools for acceptance and forgiveness as it relates to whatever it is that you chose to work with during this program. So hopefully at this point, you've been able to identify one, two, maybe a couple of things that you really want to try to apply this process to. And once you get the hang of it for one specific thing or situation or issue, then you'll be able to do it again and again and again for other situations. So focus on one if you can. Pick one thing that you really want to put your attention to, and let's work with that. Because and this came up as a concern or a question, is that there are so many layers. So once you start to peel layers, they are so many. It's like, you know, that onion that makes you cry every layer you peel. You know, if you've ever cut an onion, you know what I'm talking about. As soon as you peel the top layer, the protective layer, the tears are out and you can't help it. And that's what happens when we work on deeper emotional layers as well. It's inevitable, and there are a lot, and it can create confusion. It can create confusion because you're not quite sure what came first, who's at fault, how did you learn, you know, this thing. And so, excuse me. So yeah, so there are definitely layers to be worked through. So if we were to pick one situation, something that you know for sure in your life needs to shift, so that you can feel better and so that you can be more aligned with who you are and why you're here, and live your life in a way that actually makes you happy. Because ultimately that's what we all want, is to be happy and to live peacefully, right? And to live drama free. And it's true, we live in a world right now where unfortunately um, you know, drama is everywhere, and a lot of people are walking around, definitely instigating a lot of emotional issues and a lot of things that don't feel good. So with that, even though it's happening everywhere and to everyone, I'll say again, let's bring it back and focus on ourselves. Focus on each and every one of us and care for our own selves first, so that we can tackle some of those bigger issues and help our communities and um, you know, cities and countries, and eventually influence the world. But again, it starts with on a very individual level. So um, so I know that there are some of you who are dealing specifically with, you know, relationship breakups. Um, a couple of you who are listening to this may really resonate with this. Something, you know, a relationship has come to an end, and that has left you with feelings of doubt, uncertainty, you know, worthiness, and that kind of stuff. So hopefully we can address that as well today. Some of you today, I know that whoever's listening to the replay here is dealing with some body issues, body concerns, illnesses, pains and aches and things like that. And we'll definitely address a little bit on that today. And I know that some of you are actually very concerned with the global, you know, state of our world, what's happening globally, and how can we influence that. And again, those are all layers of the same thing, because if you come down to it and if you really dive down deep, it all comes to the same thing, is the emotion of um, love and acceptance that we need to rise up and feel more of, so that we can apply it to those situations that really don't feel good. All right, so sit back for a moment, and let's just take a few moments to connect here. So close your eyes if you feel safe there where you are, and take a big breath. And at whatever time you're listening or watching this, just give yourself a chance to calm and settle into your body, into yourself right now, so that you can feel. Again, the point and the purpose of this is to get us to feel more, to connect the mind and the body, because they are inseparable. And for some reason, we've been conditioned to just be up here, to be in the thoughts, in the mind. and not to feel the body so much. So so just take a moment and sink your awareness inside your body. Allow yourself to let go of the day, let go of the small things you had to come across and deal with, and put yourself first right now so that you can really connect to what's important to you, and you can address that, what's important to you. Okay, so we talk a lot about energy, and I talk a lot about energy. And energy just means, energy is another word for saying feeling. Our feelings are energy. So recognizing a feeling that is currently present for you is very important, because then you can take some steps to raise this feeling, or raise the energy, or raise the vibration of that feeling. And some of you may be aware of the chakra system. If you haven't yet got your chakra awareness guide, go ahead and download that. It came in one of the first emails for you. And it really explains what I mean by, what are these chakras? Again, that's just a fancy word for saying there's some emotion and our body is holding on to energy in different areas. So recognizing a feeling helps you know what kind of energy you are putting out and what's happening within your body in that moment. So if you are in a state of fear, doubt, worry, uncertainty, unsafety, that means that your energy is low. Your energy is low, and it doesn't necessarily give you a good feeling when that energy is low. And currently, if we look at this globally, our world is in a lower vibrational state because a lot of people don't feel good. And that's instigated, of course, by what we're observing. So the idea and the change that is sustainable is to learn how to raise that vibration despite or without paying attention to everything that's going on around us. Even though that's so hard to do, it's possible. And believe me, that's our work. We need to figure out how to manage our own energy in a way that is not guided by what we're observing outside of us, what other people are saying, what other people are doing. Even though it's a big part of our world, it's kind of like a catch-22. If you allow this outside circumstance and outside things to really affect you, then it's hard to move your energy. But if you move your energy first and then look at the situations, things look a lot different. And this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about acceptance and forgiveness. And this is why this step is actually critical if you want to create some sustainable change in your life. So think of a situation, anything that you would like to change. You're aware of it, you know that it needs to shift and change, and now it's time to accept and forgive everything about that situation. So let's say we're working with a breakup or a relationship that didn't work out, and something that really hurt you in the moment. And I have that experience from the past, and I think I shared a bit in the first video, so I'll keep going with this so that it makes a little bit of sense. But basically, the piece that happened was I became aware of this enormous heartbreak that happened. I lived it, I felt it, it felt awful. And then I started to work to release or to let go of that feeling. I didn't want to feel that way anymore. And so the acceptance piece came when I when I raised my awareness enough to know that whatever I'm feeling was instigated by an experience, and that now I can choose to accept the situation as it happened, and to know that there's a lesson in me to learn. Now, the part of forgiveness went a little bit deeper. It was about me first, forgiving myself that I did that I was in a situation that could have potentially been avoided, and that it wasn't me. There was nothing wrong with me. It's just that I was in that place at that time, and that's what happened. And the forgiveness piece really came when I had to go back, even further back than that, to understand that for some reason I felt the feeling, I'm talking about that feeling of heartbreak, abandonment in my case, feeling unloved or uncared for. And that went back and it reminded me of the relationship with my father. And so forgiveness was when I was able to look at him and at that situation and say, I forgive myself and you, and I'm no longer willing to hold myself in a space that doesn't feel good because of the experience I've had. You hear that? I'm not willing to hold myself in a space that doesn't feel good because of that experience I've had. And that's where the onion gets really watery, really spicy, because there are layers to this. There are many layers to forgiveness. It doesn't happen just by saying it. It has to be felt. It has to be released. And that's when we can come back to a state of love, a state of forgiveness, and a state of acceptance. Now that is about my relationship, right? About relationships. Let's say that we're working with a condition of the body and you are feeling like you're experiencing some kind of bodily condition. Maybe it's a pain, it's an ache, it's an illness. It's something you've been diagnosed with. It's something that came, presented, and some people call it cancer. I don't want to go that far with that word, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's the stuff that you have been labeled with in a way that describes something that you're experiencing in the body. I work with the body all the time. It's my specialty. I love to work through the body to find out what's going on. And I work with a lot of people who have actually tried a lot of different things to resolve the issue that they have, and for some reason it persists. So my approach with them is to get to know the body from a space of wanting to understand it rather than trying to solve the problem, right? So let's say there's a bodily condition and you want to understand and change that. So you're aware of it. That was the first step. You've done some work and you become aware of what's going on. Now, how do you accept and forgive this body? How do you accept and forgive what's happened? Maybe it's been a car accident. Maybe you got sick. Obviously, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't something you asked for. But the point is that what if we looked at that situation or the body as a messenger? As a messenger who is here to give you more information. And sometimes when people get open to that idea, when they open up to the idea that the body is here to give us signals, and a physical manifestation of a condition or an illness or a disease is the last layer that's happened. There's a lot of layers underneath that, emotional, spiritual, mental, that are happening. And where's the block? It's now showing up on a physical level, right? And I'm all of a sudden going to bring this out in a larger sense. I know some of you here, and we've chatted about this, are very interested in what's happening globally. Well, imagine that the body is the world, and underneath every layer, like the world, the state of the world as we see it is the physical body, because it's physical. We're seeing it, we're hearing about it, we're noticing, we are living it, right? And that's the physical body in a sense. Underneath that, there are so many layers of emotion and spirituality, and how we relate to each other as humans, and where we come from, and all those ideas that are completely unlooked at. We're all just focusing on what's not going well physically. And again, when we work with the body and we focus on the physical aspect of it, we're only seeing the last layer, right? So just like every single one of us, if we want to heal truly, it's important to go deep and start with the core. We start with the core of why things are there. It's the same with our world globally. And I don't like to watch the news. I mean, I live in Canada, and it seems, you know, compared to a lot of different places, it seems pretty, like, it seems okay. It doesn't seem in any big ruffle. But for my sisters who are in the States and the US and some places in Europe, and, where things are really not feeling good, on a big scale that has nothing to do with you individually, I would say it still has a lot to do with you. I would say it still allows us and kind of kicks us into having to look at each and every one of us individually. So how do we relate? How do we communicate? And again, that's all about acceptance, forgiveness, and love. Because if we can all come to that space where you completely accept yourself for who you are, what you've experienced, where you've been, what you've done, what you haven't done, and you start to project this energy of forgiveness and love towards yourself first, and then everyone who you come in contact with and communication with, and you sort of shine that kind of accepting, loving, kind, compassionate energy, that shifts everyone. So if everyone could do it just a little bit, think about what will happen to the world. If we can teach our kids to live from that place, I'm getting teary-eyed because it's so true. If we can all do it just a little bit, what will happen to the world? Maybe not tomorrow. Well, I don't know why I'm getting all teary-eyed, but that's what's happening. But that's what the shift of this whole global thing is all about. It's about having to really sink deep down and start with us. So any kind of change, don't try to do it all at once. Don't try to change your whole life and everything, every single part of it all at once. It's overwhelming. Start with little things. Start with the things that make more sense in the moment right now. So like I said, if you're watching this and we're doing this, that is really amazing. Please consider it. Pick a thing that will help you out, and let's apply these principles. The whole idea is to start one at a time. So don't get overwhelmed by trying to do it all. Pick one thing and try to infuse acceptance, forgiveness, and love into it fully and unconditionally. And there will be times where you probably wouldn't be able to do that, and it will be harder. So the last thing I want to mention today is sorry, I just got a text about something quite important, so I get excited. So what I wanted to mention is letter writing, which I mentioned in your guide page. Is all about writing letters to of acceptance and forgiveness. Now, these letters don't have to be sent, they don't have to be shown, they can be in your private journal, they can be burned, they can be destroyed afterwards. The whole idea is that you take a piece of paper and a pen and you write a letter of acceptance and forgiveness to a person or a situation or someone that has wronged you in some way, letting them know that you're no longer willing to hold them and the situation powerful over you, and you're willing to release and forgive. Now, what if you can accept but not forgive? When people continue to do you wrong, but you can't entirely avoid them. Again, you can definitely accept, and forgiveness is about you. It's not about them. Forgiveness doesn't say that if you did me wrong, I forgive you, you can do it again. Forgiveness just says, I am no longer willing to let you hold power over me. I'm no longer willing to feel bad and shitty whenever you do something you do. And I'm getting better at this. For a long time, you used to make me crazy when you do the things you do, because I see how wrong they are and you can't seem to see how wrong they are. And you used to make me crazy. You hurt me a lot. I accept you, and now I'm working to forgive you for not because it's okay what you're doing or what you've done. It's because I'm no longer willing to hold that, to let that be powerful over me. And that's what forgiveness is about. That's how forgiveness happens, when you can look at someone and say, you just don't know. You just don't know what you don't know. And so I'm not going to let that bring me out of my zone of high vibration, because only when I'm in this zone, I can be good to myself and I can be good to others, and I can make the changes I need to make, and I can influence the world and the planet in the way that I need to influence them. So, I'm out of breath. I'm also pregnant. So, totally honest truth. And so I just want to bring this up to you again, to focus yourself and your attention and your intention on, how can I see this accepted and project forgiveness in a way that I'm not condoning behavior with my forgiveness. I just choose to not let this be powerful over me anymore. And I want to leave you with this for today. I'm not willing to let this be powerful over me anymore. And that's what forgiveness is. So go ahead and journal a little bit more tonight, or whenever you watch this video. And again, pick a thing in your life that you really want to see some shift and change around. Could be very personal, could be a body sensation or condition or illness. And see how you can come to a state of, or a vibration of, acceptance, forgiveness, and love. And I am so happy and willing to hear back from you. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to have a conversation about this. And you said yes to being here, so I applaud that, because there's clearly a need or a want on your part to shift things. And my want and my desire is to be able to guide and help you get there. I don't know the answers. I don't know what to say to make it feel good or better, but I do know that there is a way if we all focus and do it together. So thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna hop off now. I just got word that we have just put an offer to a place. We're moving into a place, and I just got word that I need to call ASAP. So I don't know what that means. But I'm gonna hop off and do that, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.